The CS2 market recently broke $6 billion, and now we are starting to have a slight sell-off. It's not too crazy. We're down about 2.36%. We lost over $100 million from the market. However, we are still seeing a lot of great moves in this market, and there's still a lot of great buy-in opportunities out there right now to invest into. Now, when we are looking at the market itself, we can definitely see some of the more expensive items dropping from some of their recent peaks, like for example, the M4S Hot Rod, the Hydroponic. There's been a few major shifts in the market. However, for the most part, most of these are still up significantly on the long-term view. Now, when we are looking at things to invest into, I've been talking about cases. I've been talking about, select items in the space as well, like for example, certain skins. In this video, I want to do a little bit of a toss-up. I actually want to go over, a few things to invest into, especially even when it comes back to sticker crafts or even just cases in general. So let's actually take a quick look into a few things. Right off the rip, we are going to start off with cases just because they're one of the most, I would say that they're the safer side of the market to invest into, because we know that, people love to open cases. If you're looking into cases that have good items in them, they will probably go up in value over time. So when we are looking at this, I do think that there's some great overall opportunities in the space. I've always loved the snakebite case. I think that's a very underrated case. The fracture case I've been talking about being a very good long-term hold. I still think that the fracture case is a good long-term hold. And then also, when we're looking at a few of the other items, the shadow case is still a pretty decent one. A lot of these have also dropped down in some value recently. But beyond that, I still think that, and I know that this is going to sound crazy, I still think that the fever case and the gallery case is definitely one that I would argue is going to be just a good long-term hold. In terms of the fever case, considering the fact that it is still in active armory, I still think that the fever case is going to be a huge case to invest into. And that's because we constantly are seeing the numbers. If we're looking at case opens in the last week, over 1.7 million fever cases were unboxed in the last week, which is just crazy. This got updated 4 hours ago, and we're still seeing massive demand for the fever case in just the last week. Also, we are starting to see the gallery case really jumping here. Over 340,000 plus got opened in the last week, which we love to see. And then also, yes, the fracture case itself, which is why I keep saying that the fracture case is still so overlooked. Over 857,000 of the fracture case opened in the last week. I also still think that the Dreams and Nightmare case is one to look into. If we're looking at the Dreams and Nightmare case over here on CSROI, we could see, I think it's actually down here a little bit. Yeah, there we have it. It's still an active drop. Investing ROI is still up 30+%, which we love to see. But the main thing about the Dreams and Nightmare case, in my opinion, obviously, number one, it's still an active drop. So you have to take that into account. But the main thing and the main selling point from my perspective when it comes to the Dreams and Nightmare case is just simply what's included in the case, which if we're looking at that, obviously the butterfly knives are like one of the biggest selling points to the Dreams and Nightmare case. Over time, I do think that this case, once it finally does get taken out of active rotation, I think that this case is going to skyrocket in value. I'm not a huge fan of the coverts. Obviously, I know that a lot of people are, but I just don't think any of the skins in this case are that desirable. I think that the main thing here and the main selling point is the golds. But I still think that this is going to be a good case to hold long term. A few of these other cases have been dropping, though, in value. If we're looking at Price Empire real quick, and we're looking at the 24-hour span here, some of these cases are dropping significantly. Some of them have been pumped up significantly as well, but like the Esports 2013 winner case, which if we're going back here, this does have a 43% plus gain in terms of investing ROI over the last year. This does have some incredible skins in it. And also the golds are very, very sought after as well. So, it does make sense for this case to have the value that it does have on it. But the main thing that I'm looking at here is the fact that it is down 20, almost 4% in the last 7 days. So this could be a hidden opportunity in front of us. But beyond that, some of these other cases like the fracture case, which I still think is a huge opportunity because of how many are being opened in just the last week, I really do think that this is going to be one that bounces back in a big way. Obviously, in the last 60 days, it's still up 85+% because of the announcement that it was getting removed from active drop pool, but I still think that the fracture case is a good one to look into. And then, just going down the list here, looking at some of the other ones, the Revolution case is only up 15+% in the last 60 days. So I still think that the Revolution case is a huge one, especially considering the fact that, outside of the Dreams and Nightmare, some of the other, active drop pool ones that I'm looking at, like the Revolution case and even the Recoil case, are still very sought after. I mean, both of these were opened over 900,000 times in the last week. So these are still seeing a significant amount of demand. And then also even the Kilowatt case, 930,000+. So, when we are looking at some of these other cases, I know that, when we're looking at cases, we want to buy ones that are not in active drop pool. However, I still think that the Revolution case is going to be one that is extremely sought after long term because of the golds in it. I know that a lot of people say, oh, well, what if they add another case that has a gold in it that is gloves? I still don't think that it's going to really affect the Revolution case that much, especially even if they added new gloves. I still think that the Revolution case is going to be a solid long-term hold. But beyond cases, right, because again, we've been talking about a lot of cases for quite some time. I think that, top 3 right now to be looking into, I would argue is the gallery case, the fracture case, and then you could toss in, either, I would argue the Revolution case. I really still think that the Revolution case is a solid one to be looking into. You could toss in the Dreams and Nightmare case because it's only up about 12% as well in the last 60 days, but, I would say that that's like my top 3 right now. Beyond that, looking into the armory currently in terms of what's the best investment, I just want to start off with collections, and then we'll go to sticker crafts or even, charms. Right off the rip, Sport and Field collection. I think that the Sport and Field collection is going to be a very solid collection to invest into. Now, my best picks here would obviously be the M4S Fade. I just think that long term, this thing is going to hold its value, even though there's a massive supply of the Fade. If you can get one that has like a 90, I would say like 95+% fade on it, it's a solid long-term hold. So I really do think that the M4S Fade is always going to be a sought-after M4S skin. Also, the Glock Axia, I've been talking about it. I still think that this is going to be a very sought-after Glock skin as well because of how good it looks in-game. And then also, the Rainbow Spoon Galil, again, it just looks so good in game. So, I think that right off the rip, these 3 are very good holds long term. Also, the heat treat, it's not bad if you can get it in a solid wear and solid pattern as well. And then also the Crimson Foil UMP, I think that it's just a very nice skin. I know that the MP9 recently got a nerf, so, a lot of people are still looking into using, other, SMGs, and the UMP is definitely still one that I think is kind of overlooked. But again, I would just go off of these 3 initially because we know that the Galil is solid for eco rounds on T side. The Glock is utilized on every single starting, side with T side, and then also the M4S Fade is just a very good looking M4S skin. Next up, the Overpass collection. I think that the Overpass collection, listen, we recently saw the Be the Monster go crazy in value. I still think that's going to be a very sought after AK skin. When it comes to this collection, it's still active in game. Same with even the Sport and Field collection. This is still dropping. So when we think about some of these, yeah, is there a risk in buying them at peaks? 100%. But I still feel like long term, these are just going to maintain their value. They're going to continue to go up in value as well. So I think that investing into these collections, it's not a bad idea. And, a lot of the skins in the Overpass collection, I really love the look of all the skins in this. I think that they just look very clean. I think that they look great. But also beyond that, I just think that these collections, once removed from the game, the investing ROI is going to be very solid. Right now, the Overpass investing ROI is down in the last year, but the Sport and Field is up 38+%. So, again, would I say that the Sport and Field collection is a better opportunity than the Overpass right now? Technically speaking, yes, it is. However, I do think that that will change once we start to see things getting removed from the armory, which recently did start to happen. Now, beyond that, let's talk about some stickers, because I know that a lot of people have been talking about stickers, especially with, some of the, refresh around the armory. So right off the rip, the Elemental Craft stickers. I do think that this collection is going to be very solid, especially when we are looking at, some of these like Ruby ones, or even some of the other lower tier ones, like, for example, the pinks. I just think that this has so much potential on a lot of sticker crafts that people will just buy up some of the supply for sticker crafts. And then also in terms of like the investing ROI, it is down currently, but the profit wise, there is a very good chance of having, solid profit from unboxing these. So when it comes to some of these sticker crafts and sticker collections, they will be very good long-term holds. Right now, looking at just like the Ruby Wave, for an example, I mean, this thing in the last like couple weeks, it's definitely down a bit, but looking at the lifetime view of this, it is up currently. And that's because a lot of people are speculating that, a lot of the things in the armory are going to be fully refreshed. So that could definitely be it. But also, some of these are just utilized in major sticker crafts. So again, the demand is there for a lot of these. And even looking at some of the other ones within this collection, we can see the big spike in price. So I just think that these are some very good investments. And then also, just to kind of toss up around some of the other ones, like for example, the community sticker collection. I do think that some of them, the stickers in this are going to be very good as well in terms of like long-term holds. I really like some of the pinks in here. I know that recently I saw a video, it came up on my feed. It was utilizing the good as new sticker for crafts. I think that this one is going to be highly sought after as well. I do like the hands off. That's also very clean looking. I think that a lot of these stickers are actually very clean looking, and just over time, they will be utilized in a lot of sticker crafts, including even the Chrome Dome. A lot of people are speculating on if this is going to be one that's kind of similar to the foil, where it's extremely sought after long term, and the price of it just continues to go up. It's hard to say for certain if that's going to be the case. Again, speculating on stickers is extremely hard in this space, but I do think that some of these stickers are already starting to have a nice little run up. Right now, the Chrome Dome is down significantly since its peak. So I would argue that, just kind of wait this out a little bit, see if we see, a little bit of a deeper dip here. But, this is at a pretty fair price, I would argue, rather than seeing it at about like $10+ or $15+. So, overall, some of these stickers are definitely good long-term holds. If they look good, if they could be utilized in sticker crafts, I would argue that the Chrome Dome would be a very good foil-like sticker for like print stream, weapons. I think that it will look very good on print stream weapons. So, if you're thinking about extremely sought after skins in the game that some of these stickers can go well with for crafts, I think that that's a very good way to look at if it's going to be extremely sought after long term. So when we think about like the Chrome Dome, I think that this will look very good on all print stream weapons, and also some of the additional weapons in the game that are, sort of minimalistic when it comes to skins. So I do think that this will be extremely sought after. And the same goes with some of these other ones. I think that they will just look good on like red skins, or even like a Redline AK and things like that. So, just anything that could be utilized for sticker crafts, definitely lock in, because I think that they could be very good investments. And then outside of that, just investing into some of these collections for the long term will probably most likely net you some pretty solid ROI. And then outside of that, just looking at some of the cases, I still think that the Fever case is going to be a very solid one for a long-term hold. Just to kind of summarize a few things, I think that that's going to be a very solid one. I think that the Fracture case is also very good. The Gallery case as well. Just kind of look at, some cases that in the last like 60 days haven't really moved too much, that have some solid skins and golds in them, because long-term they will just continue to go up in value. But overall, I'm expecting the market to have a little bit more of a deeper dip to really kind of reset the, hype side of it, but we'll probably bounce back in, a very quick way as well. So looking forward to seeing what happens next with the CS2 market. I'll keep you guys posted on a few things. And also, if you guys do want to see some case battles on the channel, or even case openings, like I could do, 100 cases or 1,000 case opening videos. If you guys want to see that, drop down in the comments below if you want to see that at some point in time, and I'll make it happen for you guys. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me over on X. I'm going to be starting to post over on X as well. There's going to be a link down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.